Now you got your headliner to start this class, and that's what they wanted. They were the last Big Ten program to get a commit, but boy, it was definitely worth the wait, right? So now how do you follow that up? Brett Bielema 2 weeks ago, when I asked him about recruiting, said, hey, we're not pushing the envelope because we want to set the tone with our first commits. And he said wave of commits. So if you think there's a wave coming, this is usually the time it happens, right? It's spring, you get on campus for unofficial visits. Then you have your official visits in June. That usually starts another wave. And then you start again in the fall and kind of wrap up with the December official visits. So there's usually kind of like 4 waves that this happens in. This could be the first one. And Lante put me on the spot on radio yesterday because he was asking me, who are some out-of-state guys I should be looking for? And I was like, man, you put me on the spot. And there's kids out of Florida, some DBs especially. We talked about this in our spring preview. Like, they're going to get Florida defensive backs. That seems to be the focus. So there are some guys, and it'll be interesting to see who comes here in the spring for unofficials and then June for officials. But it's mostly in-state kids. A couple out of St. Louis, like Frederick Moore, wide receiver out of Cardinal Ritter, Tyler Gant, defensive tackle, and Iowa and Wisconsin, and a bunch of programs are in on him. So that could be difficult. But it's mostly in-state kids that I would be really focused on. If you're looking for another top 10 kid, I think Malik Elzy out of Chicago Simeon, they're doing really well with. I think they've made up ground there with him visiting twice in the last 3 weeks. And Jair Hill out of Kankakee, some people thought would already be Michigan bound. But I think with some of the coaching change there, including Mike McDonald, who recruited him, the defense coordinator going back to the NFL with John Harbaugh, I think Jair Hill, the door might be open a little bit. So I don't know if Illinois is the leader there with either of them, but both of them have visited twice in the last 3 months with Kaden Feagin. And I think Kaden committing might open up the door a little bit more for Illinois to be like, hey, Caden's on board. Here's talent. Look what we're building. It's a bunch of in-state kids. Kankakee's an hour away, right? Chicago Simeon's 2 hours away. You can do it in state, and you are our priority, as opposed to maybe Michigan, Notre Dame. They got another 4-star kid that they would be just as happy about. We'd love to have you here. So I think those are the two. If you're looking for headliner, spring, early summer, maybe you can convince those guys. They haven't set an official date or anything for announcing, but I feel like Illinois is trending better to where they're among the top options for those guys.
Yeah, last year was a foundation class, and this year has a chance to be like a star class. And I think there's still a lot of possibility out there. Those guys are a big part of it. Jeremy, you and I were told a couple months ago how important it is to interlock these guys with each other. And that's why when we say so-and-so, Jair Hill visited with Kaden Feagin, Malik Elzy visited with Kaden Feagin, those were the beginning parts of kind of sewing, or their attempt to sew some of these prospects together with one another, commit to each other as much as you're committing to us, as much as you're committing to Illinois. And you saw they did a really good job of it last year. And you and I believe that, at least we think, that the plan is similar to last year in the sense of this first wave. Okay, good. You commit, thumbs up, everybody's happy. And you're all here on this first official visit. And then here are also all of these kids who are uncommitted, who are thinking about trying to make that plunge. And it's a lot of work to pull off. We wrote about it last year, how much it takes, Jeremy, to get all of these guys and show everybody the right amount of love when you have this many people. But you also lean on your commits to do that. And you lean on them to sew those bonds a little bit, which is why we think this could be the start of a wave here for the class of 2022. Now, is that 4 guys, 5 guys? I don't know. I don't know how many it is, but I think you and I both believe it is a few, or some, but it has to be to get this. We think this plan to work like they want it to work.